Shalom, collective. How are you guys? Oh, we have a download. And I think that we're only going to talk about one download because I have a couple, but they're newer ones. And I've been sitting on this particular one for a few days and we need to talk about it. We need to get it out. So welcome. Hello, everybody. My name is Sarah Davis. I am the founder and CEO of AscendingLifestyle.com. I currently have teas, bath salts, and oil, and some other magical things on the website. So if you are at all interested, you can find all of that in the description box below. So thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Yeah. We're going to pray first because there's a lot. If you want to pause the video and grab a pen and paper, I'm in a very classes in session type vibe. So I don't know if you guys are going to want to take notes. I am going to be giving you a recipe at the end of the video. It is one that I will be offering as a tea. So we'll talk about that at the end. Okay. So let's go ahead and pray. Spirit, I thank you so much for this time, place, space, moment. I thank you for the lessons received and the lessons yet to come. Spirit, I thank you for this space that I am existing in, that we as a collective energy is coming into. It's a beautiful space to be in, honestly. Spirit, I pray that any messages that I may receive for the collective at this time, that I receive them in the way in which you intend for me to receive them. I pray that I'm able to communicate them clearly. I pray that any visions I get, I may see and communicate them clearly as well. Ancestors, guardian angels, spiritual teams, ascended masters, we thank you so much for everything that you do for us. All the love, the guidance, and the protection through the Most High. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to talk about the energetic understanding of karma and grounding the 5D. So there's this song that this was like a 3-day download, and there was this song that kept playing in the background, and it's let's get physical. And I had no idea who sang the song, anything, and my mentor was over, and I was telling her about this, and she knew exactly the song that it was and who sang it. And it's actually, if you've ever seen the original Grease, it's Sandy, the chick who played Sandy. I can't remember her name, but it's actually a good song. So we're going to be talking about the energy first, and then we want to talk about grounding that energy. We need to talk about grounding the 5D now. But in order to get there, we have to continue to understand and tweak our understanding of karmic lessons and of the purpose of karma as a whole, right? So for me personally, I'm not sure if you guys already understood the 7-year purification cycle that is associated with karma. This is something that I'm starting to understand more deeply. So for me, that has been a huge lesson these past couple months. I'm not sure about you guys, but we have been talking about it for a couple months now. Okay, so it says the reason for the visions, right? Because we've also been talking about getting these visions These past memories have been flashing before us. Some of us have been having like extremely deep dreams that aren't necessarily a memory, a reflection of a memory, but in the dream, it's the same scenario that we are playing out. I hope that makes sense. So say that something has happened in your past, right? And that's the memory. But when you're going into the dreamscape, it's not that memory, but it's the same exact situation, right? So that's what's happening for a lot of us in the collective. Because it's happening with me, straight up, along with other shit in the dreamscape, but we'll talk about that next time. So the reason for the visions is to transmute the energy. And again, if you didn't catch the transmutation versus transformation video, I would go back and watch that if you need a more deep understanding of the differences, okay? So the reason for the visions is to transmute the energy that they are currently stored as, so that you can then transform the capacity of you as the individual. I'm going to read it one more time, okay? The reason for the visions is to transmute the energy so that they are currently, okay. Words are hard right now, okay? I'm going to try one more fucking time, okay? The reason for the visions, please help me right now. Look, the struggle is real, man. The struggle is real. I'm kind of nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really kind of nervous. I feel like this chaotic energy, right, on my insides, because I know that there's a lot going on internally, right? I think that's displaying outwardly though, because I'm more nervous than I've ever been in a reading before. And I also think because I did so much research on this, and I am known to doubt myself as a teacher, and I'm moving past that fucking energy, honestly. One of my oldest, like, I guess she would be considered my aunt, but she's not really my aunt. She's just like a longtime family friend, was over yesterday. And she even told me straight up, she's like, I don't know why you're still hesitating about your ability to teach. And I'm like, really feeling that, you guys. So if I seem a little like off during this session with you guys, during this beautiful connection time, this is why. I am really just take a deep breath type shit. Man. It's challenging me because I know that this is what I'm gonna start stepping into more as well. So that's a lesson for some of you guys. If you're feeling that energy in a space that you know you're going into, like, push yourself to go even harder into that. Seriously. That is the point. Okay, so let's go ahead and reread that sentence, and then we will move off of that. Thank you for your patience with me, collective. I love you guys, honestly. Okay, so the reason for the visions is to transmute the energy that they are currently stored as, so that you can then transform the capacity of you as the individual now. That is the karmic energy that we are working with right now. Okay. Now I'm going to go into the physical. I'm going to go into what is physically happening within your biological system as this energy is encompassing us as a collective, right? We have to understand. Now it's time to let's get physical, right? We have to understand in the 3D how we are going to be able to transmute and transform the things that we see in front of us, okay? It's time to really ground the 5D. That is what we're doing right now. We're grounding in the 5D. And in order to fully ground, we can't just understand this, the soul, right? Body, mind, soul. We can't just have an understanding of the soul. We have to have an understanding. I feel like a lot of us went to soul, then we went to mind, and now we're going into the physical, right? So now we're like the Trinity, right? Now we're really going to be able to understand how we can ground and get the 5D down into the 3D, right? Because that's what the whole point is. That's the point, right? Because if we can ground the 5D, then essentially we're ascending what it is that we see before us. And that is the point. That's why we build a lifestyle, and a butterfly just landed beautifully. And this one I have not seen before. I do have a monarch that hangs out with me like every single day. And this is a brand new butterfly that just landed in the space. Ashe. Okay. So first we're going to talk about the hippocampus. The hippocampus is a part of the brain that is in charge of learning and memory. So as situations are coming up, as you're seeing, as you're taking in, as you're calculating, right, you're learning from those situations. And the hippocampus is in charge of the lessons that you receive from the memory that you have, the memories that you have, the experiences and situations that you have found yourself in life. Your hippocampus is in charge, and we're talking about karmic lessons now, right? Transmuting that energy so that we can transform the individual. This is what the hippocampus is triggering us to do right now, physically within our being, right? This is no longer just the visions that we see through our third eye. This is physically understanding how our body biologically is processing this information. Right? So the hippocampus is learning and memory. Then what the hippocampus does, it takes the short-term memory and the lessons that are associated, or the feelings and emotions, the energy that is associated with those lessons in the short term. And what it's going to do is it's going to transfer that information over to the cerebral cortex, which is a part of your long-term storage. Okay? So those energetic vibrations that are associated with certain memories are stored within your physical being, in the cerebral cortex, which is in charge of consciousness, thought, emotion, reasoning, language, and long-term memory. Okay, I hope you guys are following how incredibly important this is and how fucking cool this is at the same time. Like, I have been so involved in research for this stuff. It is so fascinating to me, right? Then the cerebral cortex communicates with the whole body, and most directly with the liver. Okay? So you see we're coming from here and we're going down the body right now. And we're in the liver area. The liver is in charge of purifying blood, purification process, karmic cycle, 7 years, right? So the liver purifies the blood, it makes bile for food digestion, stores glycogen, which is an energy source, and vitamins. Okay. So what is happening? Please help me with this, because I don't know how to explain this. Okay. So when the cerebral cortex is communicating with the liver, and it's in charge of emotions and long-term storage of memory, the energies that are attached to those memories is the energy that is going to be stored within the liver. Now, if you read about this, it's actually proposed as the glycogen is removed from any substances that you digest, and that is the energy that is stored within the liver for later use, right? But you can't tell me, honestly, we are a spiritual thing. So you cannot tell me that the memory that is stored in a part of the body that communicates with everything else in our body, that the energy that is stored within that thing is not transferring as the communication is not, that vibration from that energy is stored, is going into every part of your being, right? If we can take these lessons and these memories that are coming up, and if we can transmute the energy associated with that for restorage, our physical being is going to ascend. Our physical being is going to become lighter as a whole, because the 3D realm is a very dense realm as it is, right? This is what we're trying to do. This is literally the physical understanding of why we do this work. Physically, this is why we do this work, okay? And it's so amazing to me that the body is assisting us through this in ways that personally I have never understood before until now. Like, it's just so amazing to me, honestly. Now let's go back into the energetic understanding of the liver. So the liver is run by the solar plexus, which is the third chakra, okay? Which is interesting because the shame, or the demon of the third chakra of the solar plexus is shame. And shame can trigger addiction like overeating. And that is really important right now. Because what needs to happen in the collective this month, we need to do a liver cleanse. We really, really, really need to start taking care of the liver. Okay. And this is the recipe that I'm going to give you guys. I was downloaded a liver cleanse tea, and I'm going to give you the ingredients here at the end of the video of what it is that I'm going to be using in the one that I sell. So you will have the direct recipe. Okay. Now, if you want to pre-order the tea, you will have that option as well on the website. And then I can just make it for you and ship it to you. It's a win-win, right? Okay. So where are we going from here? So we're in the liver space. Now, the liver, so what's going to happen is everything is coming down, right? Everything is coming down here. Once it gets to the liver then is going to send information even further down towards the root, okay? Physically, the liver is in charge of like sexual arousal and desire. And the secretion that happens in women, the secretion that happens during that physical act, okay? I don't know if secretion is the right word, to be honest. But then the liver is also going to go back up, right? So we're in right now, it's going to go back up into the pineal gland, which is the third eye. And something that's very interesting to me that really caught my attention is that the third eye and the liver are both shaped like the pine cone. And I don't know if you guys know how spiritually powerful the pine cone actually is. Okay, so the spiritual representation or the pine cone spiritually represents immortality and enlightenment. And I found this absolutely amazing because immortality, what do you have to do to be able to achieve immortality physically? You have to be in the best fucking shape. You have to take care of your body, right? So the pine cone, the immortality aspect of the pine cone is physical, which is the liver, right? And then the next aspect of the pine cone is the enlightenment, which is the spiritual, which is the third eye. Like, this is so cool how these things are associated together, okay? Now, where are we going from here? I'm sorry if this seems a little all over the place, but this is my first time doing a reading like this. So I'm kind of, again, I'm going to stop apologizing and I'm just going to keep going. There was something else. Oh yeah, it's important too to understand that the solar plexus, so the liver is run by the third chakra, which is the solar plexus, which is fire energy. And then it is also run, the solar plexus is directly associated with Jupiter, okay? And Jupiter is the planet of abundance, luck, and expansion, right? An advisor and a wise master. See, this is why I had to come to this part of this, because we have been talking about the last reading. I'm sorry, I have to move my legs and I gotta move you guys back. In the last reading, we talked about the trickster energy and reimagining the trickster energy. And if you really pay attention, in history, we talked about the trickster and the jester, right? So in history, the jester was actually an advisor to the king in a jokingly way, right? I keep on hearing consort too, which I know why, because my dear friend Moira and I had a conversation the other day, and she was talking about, we were talking about the consort energy. And I put on here too, an advisor is also a witness as well. An advisor has to be a witness. A great advisor is a witness. A great advisor to someone is someone who puts themselves in situations so that they are able to advise on certain situations or from experiences that they have been in. And the trickster and witness energy has been something that we have been talking about for the past, well, trickster energy was last reading. Witness energy has been, I believe, like the past month, right? And that witness energy is really allowing yourself to not be triggered by the memories that are coming up, but being able to take that step back, that higher perspective, and looking and seeing what it is that you need to learn. Okay, so I want to talk about how, you know, we have to understand how our body is really helping us right now. Our body is really trying to guide us at this point in time. I did have something else. I had other downloads with this. I feel a little bit all over the place. Okay, but we're talking about the trickster energy, so let's go here. So the trickster energy is stirring karmic lessons up because some in the collective forgot that recent fool's journey we were initiated into a few months ago made the last contract null and void. This is something, okay, I see. And then it says, remember when we spoke about being able to say that you are choosing to walk away from a soul contract? Yeah, so this fool's journey, the beginning of the year when many of us were working through addictions, many of us were walking away from situations that we have found ourselves repeating. So as we're in this trickster energy, right, as we're understanding how we're physically starting to download the 5D, which is why we walked away from these certain energies in the first place, we haven't gone back and rewrote the contract that we have with spirit. We haven't gone back and revisited, some of us in the collective haven't revisited the goals that we had. We haven't revisited the different covenants that we have wrote with spirit. Like, I physically write a covenant to spirit and I keep it in one of my altars. So I haven't gone back and visited that since I've done this. So if you haven't taken the time to do that, that is going to be a part of being able to physically download or to physically transform and transmute the space that you find yourself in. Or you're, yeah, right? We talked about that. Talked about that. says this will help you integrate the knowledge acquired so far, understanding what wave you're on. Are you balancing time in the arena with time studying? So this is also talking about balancing the, starting to balance the hermit mode with actually taking action on things, or like placing yourself in different circumstances and everything. Okay. Okay, so this says talk about grounding in the 3D. I wrote down a list of questions for the collective to start asking themselves. So 1, how does the vibration of water affect your physical being? That is extremely important right now. How does your speech vibrate out in the boomerang effect? That is a question you need to be asking yourself right now. And how are you participating in that speech? We've been talking about speech. We are 70% water. A word can physically change the geometrical formation of water. So what type of speech are you using? How are you speaking? What are you saying about people, to people? Like, understanding this and that boomerang effect, because it will boomerang back to you. Okay? So within, so without. How are these karmic memories affecting the hippocampus? And from there, how are you transmuting the energy of feeling into a higher vibration? Right? So this is what I'm missing right now. The trigger. So what's happening right now is the cerebral cortex is actually bringing long-term memories that are associated with the spiritual understandings that we are having right now, and it's bringing it back to the hippocampus, which is the visions, right? This is physically happening. Physically and energetically inside of you, this is what's happening. We're going from the cerebral cortex, is taking those long-term overdue energies that are associated with things that no longer serve you and that no longer have a place in the higher ascended version of yourself, and it's coming up to the hippocampus, right? When we're in the hippocampus, we're getting the opportunity to actually transmute the energy that is stored within our being so that we can then send it back and then upgrade, transform as the individual physically. And when we can do this physically, right, that is how we're able to do this externally, right? Are you speaking affirmations over all your chakras or just one? This was something that was really important, and it was a very quick download about the I am affirmations. So I am and this is so cool because I actually got this off of Instagram. See, social media does have a purpose. I have such a negative association with it. Anyways, so I was on social media and I was watching this this lady talk about how I am affirmations, and I already know this, but I still find myself only saying I am affirmations, and it's only associated with the root chakra. So how many of us are actually saying affirmations that are good for the whole entire system of being, for every chakra? Are we paying attention to that? Personally, I have not been. Nope, absolutely not. I've been in I am affirmations for far too long, and I don't do them frequently enough. So that is something that I am going to, I will be updating and tweaking personally, and that will become a part of my covenant that I have with Spirit. So there's a lot that just happened. I talked for 30 minutes. I don't know if any of it made sense. I do apologize if it didn't. I am trying to learn how I'm going to do these type of teachings, how I'm going to do these type of things, and the way in which it's going to work best. I'm not really vibing with this, to be honest. Like, And it's probably that chaotic energy that I'm in anyways, but I just feel like I need to be more organized for this to be more in a flow. If you guys have any suggestions for me, I would love them down in the comments below. It would really honestly help me, and I'm not the type to take things personally, so please, it takes a lot for me to be offended. I feel like I've seen too much. I'm like, well, when I disagree with people, I'm like, well, I disagree, but and then I try to read if there's someone that would even be open to the information on why I disagree or why I have a different viewpoint than they have. Some people aren't open to that shit. So I don't waste my breath. Because why? Because why? Okay, so let's go ahead and pull some cards, guys. Let's lighten the mood a little bit. Oh, I was gonna do the recipe. So let's talk about the recipe I have. This sun is just glaring. Let me do this. Oh, it's all in my eyes. Okay, so the recipe that I have, I don't know if I have in front of me actually. Shit. I think it's on my phone. I think I remember it though. So, but I wanted to be able to give you guys why each herb was important. Okay, I'm gonna stop this and then I'm gonna come back, okay?